Welcome to another ArtemiS Suite tutorial. In this tutorial, you will learn more about the playback filters, the filter cursor, and the filter pool. The playback filters allow you to filter time domain signals in the mark analyzer after calculating an analysis. You can immediately see the effects of the filtering in the analysis results and hear them in the playback. To illustrate the functions of the playback filters, we first calculate the FFT average analysis of a vacuum cleaner noise recording with the mark analyzer as the destination element. In the FFT analysis diagram, we can see some peaks distinct from the rest of the signal curve. We now want to reduce these sound components to smooth the spectrum using the playback filters. To play the sound, simply click on the playback icon in the toolbar. Using the playback filters, we will now try to improve the sound quality of the vacuum cleaner noise. To do so, click on the Show Filter Cursor icon in the toolbar of the mark analyzer, which gives you access to the filter cursor settings in the diagram and to the playback filters in a separate tool window. In the Playback Filters tool window, you will find some pre-configured filters corresponding to the cursor lines in the diagram. You can change the settings of the individual filters in the tool window. For example, click on the right icon of a filter to select the filter type. Other settings for the filters can also be made directly in the diagram. Double-clicking on a line enables or disables the corresponding filter. To change the center frequency of a filter, move a line by clicking on it and keeping the mouse button pressed. You can monitor your changes numerically in the tool window, where you can also enter the values directly. Moving the red icon up or down, you can change the Q factor, the bandwidth of the filter. Move the blue icon up or down to adjust the amplification or attenuation. You can check the effect of a filter not just visually in the analysis results, but also acoustically by alternately playing the filtered and the unfiltered signal. With a right-click on the tab of a filter, the stippled bar at the left edge of the filter's icon, you can copy the filter and paste it as a new filter if you want to reuse some of the filter settings, for example. By using additional filters, up to 16 of them can be available at one time, you can remove all undesired sound components and amplify the desired ones. You can compare the result of your filtering to the original sound at any time by turning the filters on and off. To avoid having to turn all filters on and off individually, you can combine them into filter groups. To do so, click on the stippled tabs of the filters mentioned earlier while keeping the Shift key pressed. With a right-click on any of the tabs, you can now form a group. You can choose a free frequency relationship between the individual filters or select one of several fixed relationships. A detailed description of the frequency relationships can be found in the online help of ArtemiS Suite. All filters of the group are now indicated with a color and can be jointly turned on and off. The common filters we just configured in the upper section of the Playback Filters tool window not only apply to the sound examined in the mark analyzer, but to all sounds you play back. If you want to restrict the filters to the current mark analyzer, simply drag and drop them into the mark analyzer area, the lower section of the Playback Filters window. This allows you to filter multiple sounds in different ways and to compare them to each other. Make sure to disable the common filters when using the specific filters to the current mark analyzer. In the top bar of the Tool window of the Playback Filters, you can add filters via the filter icon. All common filter types as well as parametric filters are available. Here you can decide whether your filters are to be connected in series, usually, or in parallel for bandpass filters at different frequencies, and you can also load an FIR filter curve instead of the IIR filters shown so far. FIR, finite impulse response filters, can produce very detailed spectral modifications and are usually made from measurements, such as transfer functions or transmission losses. You can save your mark, including the configured filters, using the Play to File function of the player. To do so, first open the player of ArtemiS Suite via the Playback menu. With a click on the Play to File icon, you can now save your mark with the configured filters. That is, the signal being currently played, to your hard disk as a new HDF file. For this purpose, it doesn't matter whether the currently active filters are in the common or the Mark Analyzer specific sections of the Playback Filters. All settings for the common filters are retained in the Tool window when you close a Mark Analyzer. The Playback Filter settings in the Tool window are discarded, actually reset to defaults, only when you close ArtemiS Suite. To save the settings you currently have in Playback Filters, copy the filters and paste them into the filter pool of a project. From there, you can also drag and drop your filters into the Pool Favorites, where you can access them at any time independently of your current project. Now you have some insight into the functionality of the Playback Filters and the filter cursor. You have learned how to save your settings using the filter pool and how to create and, if desired, save filtered versions of your sounds. Filters found to be useful by working interactively with the Filter Cursor Mode and Playback Filters tool window can be copied and pasted, or dragged and dropped, into a project for calculation, and thus also to be available via that project in future if the project is saved and recalled. The only way to save and recall Playback Filters with particular settings is to get them into the filter pool of a project, then save the project.